Hey guys, what is up? It is Sarah DIETSCHY Rhymes with Peachy here for another episode of the Creative Exchange. I am here with my artist friend. You're so many more things though. Timmy Ham.
Yes. What's up, guys?
AKA the Sloth.
The Sloth, yes.
I would like to start this off with where did sloth come from? So first of all, tell us everything that you do and then why sloth.
Shoot. All right. I do so many different things. It's hard to like nail down, but I would say generally speaking, artist, digital and real life, I guess you could say, murals, digital art. And then I love content creation in the whole social world. So it's kind of like, and we have merch too. So doing
That's
that too.
a big,
the
big
merch.
part of it.
Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah. So why sloth? Where did that come from?
Sloth, sloth kind of came out of like two different things. Like one, at the time when I came up with sloth, it was like I had just got done playing sports. I was like in this chill zone of life where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and everyone else around me was super busy, and I was just like, people just need to like stop every now and then.
They just need to chill.
Yeah, just not a lazy like sloth, just chill, see where they're at in life, like kind of take everything in. And then I also really loved writing the letter S. Back in the day in school, I'd always write the
Did you do?
S.
Yes.
And so that's another reason. It's like graffiti style. When I was doing a lot of street art, it was like the S was super fun to write in like all different fonts. And then the Goonies Sloth. I loved that movie. So kind of a bunch of different reasons.
And
just
that's
all came together.
Your art persona, right?
Yeah,
I
totally.
am Sloth on the Instagram, your website.
Yep.
And so that's what it evolved into.
Yeah. I was like, do I want to brand it Timmy Ham or Sloth? And I'm like, Sloth is just way better. So it's been fun.
Let's talk about when you are a creative and you're figuring out, I have this project, I have this thing I want to do. Do I put it underneath my name or do I create another thing? Yeah. What were you thinking in the beginning with that? Because on some things you do kind of have separate socials. Yeah. Is it worth it? Does it help having that separated brand when you're like collabing with people? Mm-hmm. What have you found?
Yeah, I've always struggled with that. On my socials right now, it's like kind of going back and forth. I could have everything be Timmy Ham, but then a lot of people knows me as the artist Sloth. But I think it's probably better to have your name. I think it's stronger. It stays with you forever. Like your reputation, as you grow, your brand grows, you're always gonna have your name. I think having your name is pretty important.
It's hard just with handles though. When you start talking really social media, is it more worth it coming up with this persona where you can get all of the Instagram, Twitter handles, or do you kind of make it around your name or something? Because I always feel like it's better to have whole words as usernames. Yeah. I think I am Sloth is way better than Timmy Ham 1256 exclamation point.
Agreed. Agreed.
And I think that also translates to emails. When you get an email someone from John 562 ... you think it's spam. Yeah. And I think 100%. The same is true of social media accounts.
Yeah, it's just super clean, professional. I would love someday to have the handle @Sloth. Like that would be amazing.
Who is @Sloth?
On Twitter, I know it's just like some weird account that hasn't really been used. I haven't searched on Instagram in a long time. I feel like you could get that. I know. I need to do some strategy and like figure out who.
Let's see who is Sloth on Instagram. Because I feel like if there's a dead account out there on Twitter, they're pretty good. If you know the right people, you could get that.
I also like low key really want to be like the third thing or the first thing that comes up when someone Googles Sloth. Because that'd be like, if you're like more legit than the animal, like I've made it. Like, yo, Google Sloth, it's me.
Are you in SEO stuff? Do you understand like Google
a little bit?
SEO?
I come up on like, sometimes I'll be on the first page, sometimes I'll be on like the second. Yeah. I think it's a possibility I could be like high up on the first. It also is weird now with Google how it all depends on what you're searching in your computer. It's not necessarily the same for everybody. Mm-hmm. So
this is Sloth on Instagram. Bad news is he actually posts consistently. Yeah. But good news is there's not a lot attached. He has 700 followers.
That's @Sloth.
That's @Sloth. So just slide into the DMs, offer him some money.
I think that needs to happen.
I think like that could happen.
$1,000. Yeah. I feel like someone would be like $1,000.
Yeah. I mean, you should start at 500 And then he might get, because, you know, people get cocky in those situations.
They'll give you $500 and a gift card to Target.
Yes. You can settle at a 500 cash, 500 Target gift card.
Oh my, at Sloth would be so epic.
Oh my gosh.
What's your Instagram handle, Sloth?
The bigger question is, what is sloth.com though?
Sloth.com. That's actually sloth.com. Oh, that's probably really expensive. I bet.
That's probably insane. Yeah. So I have probably 30 URLs bought just for like future things that I want to do that I'm using it for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm that person that people hate who just buys the URL that they probably want, but there's just nothing up there.
I mean, you never know.
Sloth.com is free.
No.
Or not free. You can buy the domain.
Oh, shit.
Okay, let's see.
You can rent it?
Rent it. That's interesting. So you can rent URLs now?
That's super interesting. I wonder
okay, let's make an offer. Oh, they don't even have
Oh, they don't.
We'll see.
They probably want a lot.
So
it could be, if you got the social handles, it would be worth it to buy the domain.
It would totally be worth it.
At Sloth.
So I'm glad that we talked about sloths.
It could happen.
But it could happen. I'm putting that into the world. I believe in you, Timmy. You can get that.
It's going to happen.
What were you doing in the college days?
College days, I was not doing art. I was playing football and being a student athlete. And I actually did have a clothing line that I sold to a bunch of people in the dorms, and it was like around snowboarding.
Oh, no way.
And because I love action sports culture. So like that originally, like when I stopped playing football, that little seed during college was kind of what rebirthed like me wanting to do merch and get into like business/creative life. But yeah, I was playing football at the University of Nevada and doing the athlete life.
Nice.
Yeah.
I played basketball in high school, but I got so tired of the intensity of it. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be at practice for 4 hours every single day. So what was that like for you? Were you just so hungry for it? And like, did you have dreams of going beyond college? Is that what kept you going?
100%. Yeah. That was the original. I mean, I loved playing, but like, I'm not someone that watched sports. So I was purely, and I didn't even like college, I didn't like school. So like, I was purely like, I'm only going to go and play if I think I can make it to the NFL. And that was the route. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but I definitely, if I didn't get injured a lot, I'm like pretty sure I could have made it.
What did you play? What position?
I was a running back. So I got to score some touchdowns.
Nice.
Super fun and awesome experience. And like, I loved it. I think I could have kept playing, but just getting hurt a lot put a lot of things in perspective. And I ended up realizing maybe I don't love it as much as I thought I did, because if I did, I would have just kept going with it. I could have kept playing. I just would have had surgery like once or twice every year. And a lot of starting like athletes in the football world, that's kind of the routine. Like they have surgery after season, something's broken.
That is so intense though.
Yeah. It's nuts. Like now my shoulders are all jacked up and like I'm feeling pains all the time. But like, so looking back, it all worked out perfect. Like I'm so pumped where I'm at and everything, but that was a definitely fun experience and taught me a lot about, hard work and discipline and all that stuff. And
going forward, you probably know how to get a solid workout in. And that's something that I took from basketball was I know how to just work out when I want to.
Yeah.
But when the winter is here, I'm just like, nah.
Yeah, I'd be the same
I'm going
way.
to stay inside
I'd be
all
like,
day.
Yeah, how many air squats can I do inside until like I pass out?
What was that moment like when you realized football is over? Was that scary?
Yeah, it was definitely weird for me because I had been doing it for so long, and it was a moment where, I didn't really know what to do at once in my life. It was really bizarre. And I had told myself going into my, junior year, I was like, okay, if I get hurt in fall camp, I'm done. And I'm just like, not gonna go back. And I told myself that a week before, and then that week I ended up getting hurt in fall camp, the same injury that I kept having every year. And I literally called my dad the next day. I was like, I'm done. I called my coach. And I like went to meet him. I'm like, yeah, I'm not playing anymore. And they were pretty pissed because I was on a full ride. So it was like,
wow.
It was like, okay, whatever. And then like 4 days later, I was back home. Like I just packed everything up and moved right away.
Did you drop out of college?
Yeah. Well, I dropped out. I didn't go for that semester. And I ended up going back to college. There was a lot of politics because I was on a full ride and I was injured. They should have honored my scholarship because I got hurt playing football. But it's weird. I went to a different doctor, all this weird stuff. They ended up saying that they weren't going to honor it. So then I just was like, all right, well, I'm leaving. Went back home and then hung out for a bit and then was at ASU for a little while until I realized I loved art. And then that's when I dropped out of college my senior year. I had like 4 credits left. Wow. But I wanted to change majors.
You know.
Yeah, and I wanted to change majors to graphic design. But at Arizona State, since I had been in an international business degree, nothing transferred. I had never taken an art class. It was like they said I would have to be there for 3 more years. I'm like, I'm not going to be in college for 7 years. Like, that's ridiculous. So I just literally like never went back. I just went home.
So when you did that, what was the game plan? Did you go and intern for someone? Did you go learn from the internet? I mean, what was your next step? And how were you at the point of dropping, like when you decided not to go to college anymore? Like, why were you confident that art could be the thing?
I think I've always just been super confident in general. Shout out to my parents. Like they always just like built that into me. So I definitely think I was fortunate of being like just believing in myself. But I think I was just seeing a lot of people unhappy, and especially in college, and a lot of my friends like doing majors they didn't want to do, doing things that they didn't really want to do because they're trying to please other people. And once I realized like, okay, I do not want to do this business / I was doing like pre-law as well. I didn't want to do
pre-law.
that. Yeah. Wow. And I had been getting into like the creative scene, and I just knew. And I also think the fact that people like my parents were kind of like, my dad was kind of like, you're not going to make any money doing graphic design. You know, like I know the lifestyle that you like to live, and like that might not relate to how you want to live dollar wise. And I was just like, that too made me want to do it even more, because it was just like, well, if that, like if you don't think I can, like, and he had been supportive my whole life, so it was like him not really totally supporting me just made me want to do it even more. And that like, gave me a lot of lot of like fuel to really just be like, all right, well, if no one really sees this, then I'm just gonna do it. And also I was getting a lot of weird like kind of anomaly like, you're a football player, you're an athlete, everyone thought I should go back and play sports, and just that everyone wanted me to do that so bad made me not want to do that. And so that also kind of like pushed me a little bit more.
I feel like all of the people who are in art and who are doing something creative either have a background in sports or music. Yeah. And so many people that I talk to, the lessons that they've learned through those things impact what they're doing right now so much. Yeah. That was the same for me.
I just also hated that everything felt like everyone knew what you had to do. It was like, you have to go this route, you have to go to school, you have to get this kind of job, you have to do this. And that just really bothered me. I'm like, I don't want to do what they want me to do.
And there's not one path to success. Yeah. It is so different for every single person.
100%. And me coming from a background, my dad was like, he's PhD, had like 4 master's degrees, was the president of Arizona Education. Like he's on NPR, like super educated, up the ladder kind of guy. Yeah. And that's what I grew up on. So it was like, I just didn't want any part of that anymore. It wasn't because I didn't like it. I just knew it wasn't for me.
So what did you do after?
So I just dropped. Yeah. So I left school, and then I had a lot of friends that were in art institutes, and I would literally just have them send me their homework. And one of my friends got me like a pirated version of the Creative, like Photoshop and Illustrator. Nice. And I just did all those things on my own. I would just practice and do them. And then that's when I started like painting and doing all that stuff. And I was also a barista, roasting coffee, and I was just pretty much being a hipster with no plan. But I knew like that was the days of MySpace, and I knew like
MySpace.
I could post. Yeah. And I would post stuff, and I ended up starting getting like freelance gigs
from MySpace.
From MySpace.
The OG LinkedIn?
Yeah.
OG Twitter?
There was this first band, they were called Scaring Kids. Do you know that band?
Yes. Timmy, what are you about to say? Well, because I was upset. Okay, Love, Hate Hero, Scary Kids, Scaring Kids, Chiodos.
Yeah.
Like, that was my jam.
Yeah, so Scaring Kids, I believe they're all from Arizona, or one of them was, but they originally saw my artwork on MySpace, and then I ended up doing like merch for them. And I was like,
Timmy, I might own your design as a shirt.
You might, yeah.
That
would be so funny.
I kid you not, I owned a green Scary Kids, Scaring Kids shirt with like crazy artwork.
I need to go back into my files and try to find the exact artwork that I did for them.
My mind is blown.
Yeah. So that kind of like.
So it was their, they sold it on tour?
I don't know where they put it. I don't remember where they put it. It was like 13 years ago.
Blowing my mind.
But that moment definitely made me go, like, one, it was like after, I don't even think it had been a year since I'd been doing stuff. Wow. Like, oh man, like social, I can promote myself. This is awesome. I was also like handing out business cards through the drive-through of the coffee shop. People, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a graphic designer. But they didn't know, like, I just started.
Right.
So
but
I'm like,
if you have the work to back it up.
Yeah. And how can I get people to pay me to learn? And since I felt like I was really confident that I could just do it, you know, like, and it forced me to learn the programs and like learn really fast and like, yeah.
And if you're that type of person, that's exactly what you should do, because there's so many ways that you can just learn on your own and do it. I know there's a lot of people out there that need that structure. Yeah, they need the pressure of a teacher. They need the pressure of like, oh, I have a 9 a.m. class. But I think many people, and they might not even know it, are like that, to where if they want something and they're hungry enough for it, they just go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's like the best. Like if you're wired that way, just go all in, because you can get a lot done.
So how have you found your illustrative voice? Were you doing kind of similar stuff 10 years ago as you are now? Like how did you take those projects that maybe everyone was doing similar things and put your twist on it and really find your voice?
Honestly, I think it just found my voice and found my style just by doing it for so long, and then like taking pieces from other people's style that I really liked. Early on, I was like heavily influenced by like Shepard Fairey, Obey, and Johnny Cupcakes. And I love street art and pop culture. And I also think when I first started, the internet was still legit, social was still legit, but everyone was still kind of figuring out the content piece. And so that's where, you know, fast forward like 3-4 years, that's when I started to like really be able to see more of the culture of it, because in Arizona, the art scene is just okay. So once social started like really catching up, that helped me like opened up a lot more doors to be like, oh, that inspiration, that's really cool. And this is super awesome. Like I want to like kind of do it like that, but my own style. And then also just like seeing other people in different industries, and definitely like taking things from like people like you, like filmmakers and photographers. I love everything that you guys do. And like, I try to do that, but from an art standpoint.
How have you used social to go beyond what a normal illustrator do? Because Timmy has a YouTube channel. You have, you know, you're very active on Twitter and Instagram. And typically for, you know, a guy or a girl who would do what you do, you would have an Instagram, and that would be your portfolio. But I discovered you, honestly, I think through Twitter before we even really connected, because people would be retweeting your work to like win something. And you've really learned how to leverage those things, and not how people would traditionally do it. People think, okay, if I want to be successful on YouTube, I have to have X amount of views so I can do brand deals, or I can make AdSense. But how have you, let's start with your YouTube channel. What has your YouTube channel been for you?
Well, you know, first off, it started off, I was doing the whole vlogging thing and did that for a couple years. But I think I was more focused on like, oh, just vlog. And then it slowly evolved into, well, people really want to see my art, but I don't want to just be the channel that's just posting art projects and that's it. So now I've kind of evolved in like trying to do a little bit of lifestyle, like a little bit of what I'm doing that day, and then, but focused on like, this is like what I'm working on. And then just recently I'm doing like I post 5 days a week, but it's just like I'm just doing a drawing. Cool. And then some days
I didn't know you post 5 days on YouTube.
I just started like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it's way more. It's not as intimidating as it sounds because
you have
like
a focus.
In 2 days a week, like it's a little vloggy, but then the other 3 are I just sit down, I'm like, hey guys, this is what I worked on. This is a new project, and then it's like a time lapse or something. So it's a lot easier to maintain.
Yeah. And I think that's a good sweet spot, especially for people who don't just do vlogging, but maybe first they're a photographer or a filmmaker, or something that has helped me recently is, you know, yes, I like the vlog aspect and the lifestyle thing that it can add, but just doing that, like I am so not a daily vlogger. Yeah. So what's helped me is say, first, what am I interested in terms of technology and creativity? Who do I want to highlight? What process do I want to show? What new gadget do I want to show? And how can I then bring in personality from that by adding a little bit of lifestyle around it? Exactly. And that has helped me so much.
Yeah. Like just having like that kind of plan is what's helped me is like just having a focus. Before it was like, okay, I'm just gonna film today. Exactly. But now that I'm like, I have exciting. A goal, like I have to do one drawing or one canvas like every day. One, it's like I'm like way more productive and I have way more content to post on Instagram or Twitter. And 2, it's just giving me that like focus of like, okay, I know what I need to do.
And also a focus for your audience.
Yeah. They kind of know what to expect and the consistency and all that.
With Twitter, how do you use Twitter?
Twitter is the best social platform in the world. I love Twitter.
See, why would an Illustrator say that? Why?
Well, I love Twitter because the community and the networking that Twitter has is awesome. The way that you can strategize things through Twitter is so fun and awesome. Like I really feel like I could connect to anybody I want through Twitter. Like if I'm like, okay, I really want to work with,
you just connect the dots.
Yeah,
right?
Joe Dirt. I'll be like, okay, Joe Dirt is friends with these 3 people, and those 3 people are friends with these. I'm gonna reach out to those lower 3 people, build a relationship with them, and then I'm gonna go to the next people, and then over time, X should happen. And it's so fun to watch. Like I'm sure it's happened with you a million times where you're like,
because I feel like we both watch each other do it. Like, oh, I remember you saying you want to do that thing, and now he's put like Marquez recently, MKBHD. What happened with that?
That was his video guy. I think had been following me, and then.
And side note, when I went to his office to shoot a video with him, his homie had a sloth shirt.
He was wearing a sloth shirt.
Yes. I know Timmy.
Yes.
So you're so in it without even knowing it, I feel like.
Yes. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that was pretty similar. Like, you know, I had done something for Dan Petty, and then I used that as leverage to get noticed by MKBHD by posting, you know, a video of a MacBook Pro that I painted for Dan, and then using my followers to leverage that to get exposure because he's got such a huge following. So you have to like kind of break that.
You have to show that you're legit.
Yeah, you got to break the noise, you know, with people that big.
And he's doing this without being verified too. You're still not verified, which I think is such a crime. But at the same time, it's possible. You have 40,000, 50,000?
53,000.
He's building it up.
2008 since 2008.
Love it. And it works because 100%. You're connecting those dots in the creative community, but you're also providing something to retweet and something to favorite and a reason for them to want to be involved.
Yeah, 100%.
And then did you send him that little Android?
I sent him an Android and
that was painted like Timmy, like a little vinyl Timmy Ham style. Android. Yeah.
Super awesome. And you could see in his videos sometimes, and he put it on Instagram. He like did a post on Instagram,
so cool.
Which like gave me a couple thousand followers, and it was like tons of awesome social cred. And then I actually painted a MacBook Pro for him too.
I didn't know that you did that as well.
But it's low-key been at my house for a long time. I need to send it to him.
Send it, bro.
Sorry, MKBHD.
Oh my gosh. But we'll send him this clip. Yeah. It'll be there soon.
I know.
We'll use this clip to leverage our Twitter presence to get followers from MKBHD by delivering this message.
Yes.
But that's so cool. And first of all, actually, let me back up. Are you a member of LinkedIn, or is Twitter your LinkedIn?
I used to have a LinkedIn when I had my first job. and dabbled in it a little bit, but I haven't been on there in, I don't know, 4 years. You know,
because Twitter is that.
Yeah, Twitter's my LinkedIn. Yeah.
You know?
All the people that I want to work with on Twitter, even brands, like majority of my brand deals have been established relationships from Twitter. Like originally, like it's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Twitter, it's the move.
Yes. Twitter's awesome. Think of it strategically, not just how many retweets can I get and likes. Build an audience, and then you can leverage your audience to make those connections that you want.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Arizona, you live there. That's like where your adorable family is. You have an amazing wife, beautiful children, but you have kind of built this art creative community that is so stoked on your art. And you tell me how that started, and also what are you doing? Like a bus?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Tell me. What is that all about?
Yeah, so honestly, being in AZ and seeing like your guys' whole NYC squad has given me lots of inspiration to give similar vibes, like bring some of those, like that passion and that to Arizona. And so that's kind of like my ultimate goal is like be hometown guy, Arizona, that doesn't live in an awesome city like New York, like we don't really have a scene. So it's like trying to own that is really important to me. And yeah, over the years I've been doing pop-up shops with the merch. We bought a school bus that we like gutted out and made into kind of like a mobile office that we bring to the pop-up shops.
And there are lines like of hundreds of people for these pop-up shops.
Yeah, the last couple were pretty epic, and we probably should do another one soon because it's been a solid like 6 months. But when we do them, we had a lot of people come. It was awesome. We have a really big scene in the high school, like 7th, 8th grade, and then high school seems to be like really into it, which has been a lot of fun because we just don't have like a lot of other people that are doing stuff like this, New York or LA.
So when you latch on, it can be exciting for people because you might strike a chord with people who want to be creative and artists.
It builds like kind of that community, and they're like, oh, this is awesome because, we thought only other states, like cooler states did this stuff. And so it's definitely a lot easier to be different there, because everything's so normalized, I guess.
And it's kind of the thing of, do you want to be a big fish in a small pond or vice versa? And New York, it is so amazing, but in terms of YouTube and things like that, it compared to LA, it is kind of the big fish and small pond vibe. And what's so cool about New York is there's not only YouTuber creative scene, but there's also the business scene. And
every scene is here.
Every scene is here.
And it's all like top level.
Yeah, which is so cool. And so that's what I've found to be just so fun over the past 2 years, kind of being in the middle of that. But it's been so cool to watch you in Arizona build something, I feel like, from the ground up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what do you, because you do the ambassador thing or whatever, don't you? Like, how do you get the community excited? What is that?
It started, honestly, I think it honestly started just through people finding that I was from Arizona, and I think YouTube helped, like, and just being consistent on social and content. And then when I started doing the pop-up shops, that's when it really took off because it was I think people wanted something tangible too with it. And then once the pop-up shops happened, it was like super fun,
because then you can post that to social media and then people see that and like, oh, this is legit. Oh, okay. It kind of brings that digital to the physical, and then it brings it back to the physical.
Totally. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, that's so cool. Let's talk business.
Yeah, let's do it.
You have, an art operation. You have your clothes. You are very knowledgeable in social media and how to leverage that to build businesses. So you've done some like client work and things. Yep. When did you employ your first employee, and how is that journey in doing more?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So business wise, there's like all the different buckets. One thing I learned like super fast is like when you're on your own. For me, especially with having a family, 3 kids, and trying to support that, is like having multiple sources of like income from like all different spaces is like the smartest way, because sometimes things dip and dive. And so, you know, I've got like selling artwork to brand deals to selling merch, to like digital artwork freelance. And then I also have a client where I help them with like influencer marketing stuff. And so it's just kind of like a whole slew of different things. But it's pretty.
Does that keep, because I feel like that would keep things exciting.
It does,
you know,
yeah.
Because it's like, what am I going to work on today?
Yeah, I love it. I would, if all I did was have to paint every day, I would probably go crazy. And then, you know, with the merch side, I've got one like full-time employee, and then a couple kids like Grayson, who is here with us right now.
What's up, Grayson?
Has been helping me a lot more and more with helping content and trying to figure out how I can get him to help like a lot more with editing stuff and things like that. What I've realized over the last couple of years is I don't think I would ever have a company of like 100 employees. I'm not good. I don't think I would like that. I think what I've realized is I like it smaller. If I did have that, I would definitely need someone to like be under me that runs everything, because I've learned that I'm not
Chief
a good
operator.
Yeah.
And you can be the head and vision setter.
I end up thinking everyone is a really good boss on their own. And I've learned that not everyone is wired like me, and I'm not good at managing people that are.
But that's
not
good
like
that you
me.
have that awareness. I think a lot of people get screwed up when they're either obsessed with just doing the work but thinking that they want to be the boss.
Yeah.
And then that just screws over other people, and then kind of the whole operation blows up, which is
I'm just not, I don't think I'm a good manager. That's not what I was wired for. I think I could be a good leader, but when it comes to like the daily delegation, I'm not good at. So like I know if I did ever grow something to the size where I need like 50 employees or 20 employees, I'd have to hire like a freaking A-teamer to just run everything.
Oh, totally.
You know?
100%. When it comes to merch and things, I always think of it as the perspective of, okay, I need a lot of YouTube views so I can sell merch, but watching you, I feel like you've almost gone the opposite way to where
my YouTube views have gone down.
No, not that.
Thanks,
I'm saying
no, they have. Like,
but I'm just saying in the
here.
ways that I feel like you're safe because you've built that community first. Like, how is MKBHD's assistant wearing a sloth shirt? How are Team 10 people wearing a sloth shirt and Jake Paul's lives? You know, you're not this like million subscriber YouTube personality that sells merch. I feel like first you're a designer and illustrator that people respect, and they see that and they want to wear your designs. And you have built that community.
I think that's super important.
Yeah, and
what you just said is like the most important piece is like, be what you are first, and then reach for the stars of like, I'm now going to be a million, you know, like you were a filmmaker, musician and all that before you are where you are now. Like you didn't. So I think like focusing purely on what's helped me is focusing purely on like, I want to be a really good artist. I want to be a really good content creator, and the rest will come eventually later. And networking has helped a ton, and just building relationships, and then just being consistent. But I think just people seeing that I'm an artist or I'm a creative first gives legitimacy, instead of them seeing like, oh, like, well, he doesn't have 300,000 followers.
But it's so there. I feel like there's a whole different world though, where Johnny Cupcakes, he's been making amazing designs, amazing clothes for all eternity.
For a long time.
But you know, maybe he'll get 500 likes on a picture, but then he can like sell out a pop-up shop with a line around things. So there's this different, I think there's 2 different routes that you can go to where you build up this credibility over time, you build community, you have people IRL repping your stuff, and it's almost the whole where maybe if you're a traditional celebrity, people aren't following on Instagram, but they know your name. And that's kind of the vibe of like, okay, maybe no one follows you, but they are repping your shirt. But then there's the other side of like, okay, you gain a following first, and then maybe you come from behind and like do merch around that.
I think that kind of happened because originally my whole goal was I wanted like a massive t-shirt company. So I was always focused on like I wasn't at the beginning of the days, I wasn't really focused so much on social media. I was focused on like building that network and community of who I could sell to, whether it was like an email list or getting people to buy it. And then the social kind of came later. So I think I wasn't focused on content so much at the beginning. I was more focused on t-shirt selling. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't really know how that happened, I guess. But I totally get what you're saying. It's like,
because sometimes you look at Instagram accounts of, a good example that's in New York is Only NY.
Yeah.
So have you seen their stuff?
Oh yeah. I love their stuff.
They're so good, right? But they'll get less engagement on an Instagram as me.
Yeah.
But then you'll walk out into New York and you'll see so many people repping their shirts, and they get deals with I was in LA.
Collab deals.
Huge collabs. Yeah. I was in LA at a Vulture Festival who is involved with New York Magazine, and New York Magazine commissioned Only NY to do crazy. Their New Yorker hoodies. And I was like, what? And so there's so much behind the scenes. I think a lot of that people don't see.
Yeah. I think a lot of that too kind of it's the people that do it, not necessarily me.
And embracing an idea and a culture and making good stuff.
Kind of like, you know how like, I'm not comparing myself to Radiohead, but like Radiohead, like back in the day, they didn't really play them on the radio. They were huge, but they weren't huge. Like they weren't mainstream to where like they were mainstream, but they weren't. It was kind of this like, oh, you like Radiohead, you're cool. But like my mom and dad wouldn't like Radiohead. So it was like, they weren't like Beyonce, but like everyone knew of them underground.
Their niche is enough.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows Radiohead.
Yeah.
And I think that's true to if you are a creator or a business person. I think if you go too wide with anything, you're not going to satisfy anyone. Yeah. And if you try to be everything for everyone, you're going to get no one.
Totally.
And I think it's true for, making t-shirts, making YouTube videos. Yeah. It's starting small. Start with that niche. That's something that Tim Ferriss talks about a lot, which I've like taken to heart is I don't think any niche is too small. You can always get bigger. You can always expand. But having like 1,000 true fans for one thing is so valuable.
Oh yeah. I mean, just think about it. If you have 1,000 true fans and you need something or need to get noticed by someone on Twitter, that'll happen in 2 seconds with 1,000 true fans.
When I made the most viral video that launched my career, I had 3,000 subscribers. Yeah. And I challenged those people to tweet and share the word, and boom.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I think the important part is building that trust, that community of people that really like your stuff. And that core, because that word of mouth, that original word of mouth is like with Only NY, like you see that happen. Like obviously there's like all this crazy behind the scenes of like people just talking about it outside of social media, that it makes things happen.
And being patient too, and realizing that you have been playing this game for how long?
I mean, 8-10 years, probably a while, but like,
because if people took a snapshot of where you are now, it's like, whoa, he has some amazing stuff going on, and like how, but it's, you don't see the behind the scenes of a lot of years, boots on the ground,
just figuring stuff out. Like I feel like I'm just barely figuring life out and work and all that. And I think the first t-shirt I printed was like 9 years ago, wow. And it just, but like looking back, it all seems so, I'm like, what was I even thinking? Cause like, I didn't even know what I was doing, like I'm
just gotta start.
Yeah. But I thought I knew exactly what I was doing then. And looking back, I was like, what?
Yeah. And it's so fun that you're able to share all of this excitement with, like, I think your family is just adorable.
Oh, they're so amazing.
But yeah, I think a lot of people think it's like either or. And I think with having a family and doing, like, being an entrepreneur of any kind, there has to be sacrifice, right?
100%, yeah.
So what are some of the coolest things with sharing this crazy life with your family and like making your own hours? And then what are some of the things that you've really had to work on with being like that entrepreneur and having a family of almost 4?
Yes, it's awesome. The hardest thing is just that, I wouldn't necessarily say balance, because there's really no balance. It's always up and down and like all over the place. but is realizing what do you want to sacrifice. When I was an athlete, like if you want to be a great athlete, you have to train all the time. You have to eat well. You can't really hang out with a lot of friends. You always got to be like on top of your game. And so when I started doing this, it was like I got married, and that I was doing everything like an athlete. And then when we ended up having our first kid, I was like, I need to kind of rearrange those priorities, or else I probably won't have a happy family. And I really want to have like a good family and all that. So over the years, I've just kind of taken a hold of like, okay, what's most important to me? My business and all these things, my reputation, all that stuff is still going to be there as long as I work hard. And I'm just not going to get there as fast as a lot of other people that don't have kids or, aren't married, just because I'm sacrificing some of the time I could be working and grinding to spend time with my family. And to me, that's just super important. And I rather just be patient, and just wait. And it'll take me 10 years longer than the guy in lane A, but I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. And, you have a rock star wife who
she's amazing.
Like when you're a team, you can make things happen and grow together and figure out what page you want to be on in life. And it's different for every single person. I think being a parent is the most judged profession ever. And so,
100%.
It's always like
a lot of people, a lot of people think you can only like another inspiration I had was like to have a family and be younger. I think I had my first kid when I was 23 and it was like, I'm not 16. I'm not 16.
That would be me having a kid right now.
Yeah. So everyone thought that you can't do what you want to do, what you're saying you're going to be when you get older and have a family. Like you can't run your own business and you can't travel and you can't adventure and you can't make all this fun content because you're going to have kids. And when you have kids, that means you have to buy a house and get a white fence and have a 9-to-5 job. And part of me wanted to show other people that like, hey, like, no, you can have a good family life. You can have a great kids and you can have an awesome marriage with your significant other and still do what you love to do. And you don't have to follow that traditional route. And I've realized that that's totally true. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. Yes. Family work. Timmy does it all. So last question to wrap things up for people out there who want to make stuff, want to make anything, but they're at this point of like they're paralyzed because it seems too much. What's some advice that you would give them?
So much cliche stuff.
But sometimes it takes people to hear the same thing like 10 times to really get it click.
You can't think of like it as lame as it sounds. It's like, yes, like when you're paralyzed because I'm not there yet, it's going to take so long. Like you don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to be like that with anything that you do. I think you just have to decide, like, do you really love it? Is it what you want to spend time on? And if so, it's not about like at the end of the road, because at the end of the road, you're going to be dead. Like the end of the road is the end of the road.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it's the same for you, but when you hit a goal, for me, like, it's super short-lived. You're like, oh, this was cool. I'm really excited. Okay,
and then on
next?
to the next. Yeah.
What's next? And so it can't be about the end goal. You have to just love that whole process. And
love the journey, love the grind.
Yes. And like be realistic with yourself. Is like, where were you 2 weeks ago? Oh, like now I'm doing this, or now I met this person.
And little goals along the way too. That's helped
steps.
Me tremendously.
Not compare yourself to other people that you might think they're further than you are because of social media. Like just really being real with yourself, and as hard as it is to just be comfortable where you are and know that like this whole life is the process. It's all about that process, not about like when you die, like it's not about the end game, because after that it's just what's next. So just 100%. Be patient, stay happy. If you're not happy, maybe it's not what you should be doing.
100%. Heck yeah. And I forgot to ask you, really, I wanted to end on like an inspirational note, but I
Work
have
hard,
to
don't
ask,
sleep, hustle.
Yeah, hustle. But I forgot to ask this, the specific tools that you use. So a lot of the stuff that we see on Twitter and Instagram, you're a big iPad person, right?
Just recently, like within like this 4 or 5 months.
Okay, so you used a Wacom before.
Yep,
and now,
I loved it.
Yeah, and now you're iPad Pro and pencil.
Yeah, I just been killing the iPad Pro and the pencil. Like I love it. I love the ease of it. I love that it's mobile. Adobe Draw is all I've been using. A little bit of Procreate, but they just have so many cool features. Like the fact that I can open up Illustrator from the iPad without plugging anything in. It just opens it up, and it sends my file to my computer is awesome.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, I love drawing, so the fact that I can look at the iPad and draw versus the tablet that I had, you have to look at the screen while you draw.
Right.
Was fun. I was used to it because I'd been using it for so long, but the
this
iPad
really brings it close to just like drawing on a piece of paper.
I love it. I'm never going. I've used it like pretty much almost every single day in the last 4 or 5 months.
And then do you touch ups on like your iMac on the bigger screen? So you like start on the iPad and then go to your iMac?
Yeah, it just depends what I'm doing it for. Like if it's just for fun and social content, I probably won't. But if it's for like a bigger brand or something, and I need to clean it up, I'll put it on my desktop and clean stuff up. A lot of the times I'll use when I go to do a canvas, like when I did your canvas.
He painted a really big, awesome painting for me, guys, that you will see very shortly.
Yes. I did the whole thing on the iPad, color and everything, and then like presented it to your mom. Yeah. And that's how she saw it. So sometimes when I'm doing a mural, I do all that, and then like I'll use that as a reference, or sometimes if
and then in pencil, do you freehand it again on the canvas?
Depends if it's like super intricate, I'll freehand it. If not, I actually have a mobile projector, and I'll project it just to get everything perfect. And because I'm always pressed for time, I know I can draw it, but why spend 3 hours freehanding something and erasing and getting it perfect when I could just do it perfect once on the computer and then project it and be done in 20 minutes.
Very cool. Oh, that's awesome. What's the mini projector? What brand?
It's an LG. It's like some mini beam 550. It's freaking amazing.
I'm very fascinated. I've never heard of a mini projector before.
It's Bluetooth, and it is so sick. Like I took my kids camping. I brought it to the bus and put it on my tripod, and we had a movie night in the bus. And it's 1080p, like high res, like high def. It's awesome.
Okay, I literally want to go buy that. Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. Okay.
Or like throw a movie up on the wall.
Yeah, a little mini projector.
Something playing.
Who needs TV? That's amazing.
Seriously, no, projectors are rad. I have I have a projector in our bedroom, and we have like 100-inch screen on our whole wall, so it's like a whole movie theater.
So cool. And sometimes TVs can be eyesores. So yeah, that's cool. Where can people find you on the internet, Timmy?
You can find me on the interwebs. I am Sloth on Instagram. I hate this. At Timmy Ham on Twitter. And Timmy Ham on YouTube. Yeah.
And then iamsloth.com.
Iamsloth.com is where we have some merch drops and things like that. So yeah.
So sick. I wear my cactus hat all the time. Yes. That's my favorite hat. And fun fact, my next drop of merch, by the way, it's soon. Yes. I didn't get the same color, but I totally use the same hats. Oh my God, they're amazing.
Those Adams hats, or whoever makes them, are amazing. Everyone should use them.
I know.
They're so comfortable, and they're like really high quality. Yeah. The quality is like unreal.
It's peak dad hat. It's the perfect combination of firm and like loose.
And the colors are really good. They have tons of cool colors. Yeah. Good job. I'm so proud of you for doing that.
I know. I'll show you after. I'll show you what it's going to be behind the scenes. And you guys will have to wait a little bit longer, like a few weeks, until some new peachy merch. Anyways, this isn't about me, guys. Go follow Timmy. All of his links will be in the description below or in the show notes if you're listening to this on Apple Music or Spotify, anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And if you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button.
Smash it hard.
And if you're listening, you can visit us at youtube.com/thecreativeexchange to see Timmy's beautiful beard. So check that out. And guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you next time. Every single Monday, there's a new podcast. I'm sorry to scream, but I just get very excited. New podcast every single Monday. Yes. Okay, guys, until next time, keep creating. Okay, bye.